Okay, this is September 4th, 2011, and some of you have not seen how to wet sand. I figure some of you are new, so I thought that I'd just show you. This is warm water. I put some dish soap in it. This is some of my old wet sanding sandpaper. In an earlier video, when I was talking about tools, I said that Lee Ross taught me how to staple different grades of sandpaper together and then cut the edges like a stair step, so it makes it easier to sand because you're not fishing around in the water trying to figure out what grade of sandpaper you're using. I'm using an old one because, you know, it's still usable. So these are the beads that I made, and I always say you end up doing obscene motions with the sandpaper on your items because there really is no other way to describe this motion. What do you do? Well, I make it happy. I call it my darling, and I hope that the way becomes smooth. So you can see some of the clay come off on there. The reason why you put water, soap in the water is it helps keep the clay particles from adhering to your sandpaper. Now, I recommend putting, not doing the shish kebab movement like this, where you have a square and then a bicone and a square and then a bicone and then a piece of tomato and a piece of celery, and you know, because it is a little more difficult to wet sand. If you have all the same shape together like this, like these bicones, then it really is a lot. So just wet it, give it a wet, and I say do about half a dozen or so passes with one grade, and then flip it over, grab the next grade of sandpaper, make your obscene motions, doodly doodly do, flip it over, get the finest grade that you have on your sandpaper, and you go diddly do, and see, since they're all on a skewer like this and they're all pretty much the same shape, it makes it fairly easy to wet sand. Round ones are a little more time consuming. If they were all rectangle, easy as pie. So that's about as much as I'm gonna wet sand these. They're smooth to the touch, and when they get a finish, they'll look pretty much like they do when they're, I felt a little edgy thing there, but they'll look pretty much the way they do when they're wet. And so that's it. This is just a really short review on wet sanding for those who've never seen it done. Oh, I found some square and rectangle beads that I needed to wet sand, because I wanted to show you that when you put your rectangle or square beads on a skewer like this, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are 8 beads. And when you put them on a skewer like this, when you sand them, it's like a whole lot easier. And especially if they're small squares and rectangles like this, that even if there's a round bead, in between them. You're not really going to see the tops of them. And I'll show you in another video how to remove the beads from the skewers, because they're pretty secure, you know. And there's a trick to taking them off, and I'll tell you right now. Reheat them. Turn on your oven to like 275. Preheat it. You know, put your bead skewers. I use this. This is crazy. I use an Entenmann cake pan, and I put the beads like this, and I put them after I've rinsed the soap off of them and stuff. I put them back in the oven for like 5 minutes. And then I take them out and I use hot pads. These are hot. Don't use your bare hands. I use hot pad gloves on both hands, and I pull the beads off, because once they're soft, they'll come off of these skewers right easy. Okay? So I just wanted to show you. So I got this one to do. I just wanted to show you how easy it was to sand the square beads when they're all on a skewer like that. Okay. Okay. This is the. I want to show you how to wet sand round beads in order to keep their shape. You saw that when we were doing rectangular beads, we can just go blah, 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 like that, and they're cool because the sides are flat. With round beads, we don't want to do that because we don't want to flatten. We don't want to flatten them. So what I do is I use sandpaper that's been used before, and it's sort of like it's a little more pliable, and I do a pinching motion. And I pinch above, on the sides, and in between the round beads, like that. And you can just do, there's one, there's two, and you're turning it with one hand, you're pinching it with the other. And if you can pat your head and rub your tummy, or play piano, or play guitar, I think you can do this, because you got to be doing different things with different hands. I know that some people have a little difficulty with doing one thing with their right hand and another thing with their left hand, but that's what you got to be able to do. So I'm continuing to pinch. I'm pinching with the thumb and fingers on the back of the sandpaper, and you can do it for medium-sized beads like these. And see, so we got them sanded, but we maintain their round shape. You can do this for little bitty beads. Now these, believe it or not, these are all Natasha beads. Let me see if I can get. I'm going to drip all over everything over here. Okay, let me put a little rag down here. These are. Can we focus? Okay, these are all Natasha beads that have been made in the round. I showed you how to do that, how to make a Natasha bead go round. Well, these are tiny Natashas that have been made in a round, so they have 4 mirror images, and yes, they were a pill, but they're really cute in a necklace because they work as spacers, and so it's worth the effort. Also, if you don't want to do Natashas, what's really nifty, and I'll show you, maybe I'll do a tutorial on this, is do a blend. I have it on my website. You do a blend where you do tiny little beads like this as a blend. Oh, sweet, sweet, sweet. But anyway, same technique applies. We pinch the top, we pinch the sides, we pinch in between, okay, and then we just keep on going. That's 2, That's 3. That's 4. And we're not working with big scratchy bumps. We're not dealing with marble here. We don't need to do more than, you know, like a half a dozen turns on these puppies because they're tiny, and we're just trying to smooth out just the slightest bumps or imperfections that's caused by, because when I do chop, I'm using old cane and new cane and Fimo mixed with Primo, and so there will be, you know, they'll after, while they're curing, I find that different brands, different manufacturers, they cure and cool in different ways, and so sometimes there's raised areas, sometimes there's dips, and so this helps just smooth it all out. So that's how you do the round. We're pinching like this, we're pinching and we're turning like that, like that, like that. It's a bit of a pill, but it's well worth it, and the little ones are just so sweet as spacers. Okay? So there it is.